Mama, 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 mama.
Places. Welcome to the Breakout, this podcast about destroying things you love by giving them away. This is a special episode of the Breakout.
I can never remember that line. One more time, from the top.
No. This is a special episode of the Breakout. We have ventured out into the world, or Jacob has. I will be soon. This is what we're calling the Breakout.
This is the beginning of a new age. An age where we leave the house.
Yes.
Where we go outside and do strange alien things that are strange and alien. Can I do that one more time?
No. So yeah, what Jacob has done is he is, with the help of a friend of the podcast, Megan Robinson, he is...
And something more.
And something more. Has gone out into the world and participated in something he would not normally participate in. I will be doing this same thing in a future date within the next month or so. So
You're too official.
Yeah, looking forward
to that. You're going to be doing it in the future. Look out. If you like this, you'll like Sam.
Doing the
suffering.
Doing the future sounds like fucking the future. You do the future today? Anyway, so that's this episode. So enjoy.
New Coke. It's back. What natural chemistry we may have.
Except as we've established in the past, like, we are two human beings who like each other but are both prone to, I don't know what to say, I'm just not going to say anything and hope the other person intervenes, which doesn't work particularly well as a dynamic, especially for an audio medium.
I was expecting you to freak out there just with my dead silence and deadpan expression. Hello and welcome to the Breakout featuring Sam and Megan. We don't really destroy
not
things.
Sam, you're Jacob.
Shit. One more time from the top. Hello and welcome to the Breakout with not Sam and not Jacob, but Jacob and Megan.
There we go.
Third time's the charm. All right. Welcome to the Breakout.
There we go. Welcome to the Breakout.
Yeah.
Very excited to be on the show.
You're in the studio.
Yeah.
It's not familiar to you at all. You've never been here before.
No,
Is that right?
Total stranger to this space.
That level of sarcasm doesn't travel through internet very well.
Are you sure?
No,
damn.
Probably not.
Shit, should I turn it up?
This is what we get for not putting professionals in here. Okay, so this podcast is about going outside and breaking out from our molds and trying to expand our world horizons.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Megan.
Okay. I am friend of the podcast since before the podcast began, but I'm Sam's girlfriend, for those of you who do not know this.
That's nice.
And Jacob is my friend, and...
Hesitantly
so. And we, for various sort of reasons, I suggested that he and I should go see a punk show together.
And that was the birth of something new and magical and
wondrous and special.
So...
Very special. Very special indeed.
You took me to a punk show at the Rickshaw.
Yes, so...
And I took you to somewhere you'd never been before.
Yes.
Somewhere magical called Friday Night Magic at Wally's Card Store.
That is correct, yes.
So, I guess we might as well start with the punk show.
Yeah, sure, since that happened, earlier.
That happened a while ago now. We're recording now in the sunny beaches of Vancouver, Canada, in a fine tropical... picturesque sunny view.
Beautiful, beautiful world out there.
It is sunny and perfect and delicatessen.
Oh yes.
But
so
back then it was dark and cold
and gritty
in the east side of
yes.
Hastings.
Yes. So for those of you who have never been to the Rickshaw, it is located at the fabulous intersection of Hastings and Maine. We went to see, I believe it was billed as a St. Patrick's Day weekend punk extravaganza.
Where we saw the Dreadnoughts eventually.
Yes, eventually.
The show had 5 openers, and we
Yes.
missed one of them.
We arrived...
Who knew that Taco Hut would take so long with
Yes.
orders?
So we arrived, and there was sort of one last song by the first band, whose name I do not remember. And then then there were a few openers, and then the Dreadnoughts came on.
Yeah. So I feel like I should start with the question that happens with every podcast episode. Megan,
Sure.
why do you like this piece of shit?
This is where I have to get a little bit sort of corny almost. Music is one of those things where it's one of the only things that I enjoy that I don't massively overthink all the time. Other things I like are, I like theater and film and novels and, graphic novels and so on. But most of them, it's a very intellectual process for me.
Your mind whirls, whereas in the land of shoving people,
we'll get to there. We'll get there. But basically, just with music, music for me is it's one of the very few things that I just enjoy viscerally / emotionally without thinking about it very much. And that's why it's hard for me to talk about music I like, because I'm just no, I listened to it and I liked it.
You like it or you don't like it.
Or I don't. Or I'm that was okay.
There's nothing cerebral about it.
It's really hard for me to analyze or dissect music, because the music doesn't really come to me through my brain so much. It kind of comes to me through the gut.
That's music, though. This was a live performance.
Okay, so going from there, if that is how I feel about just listening to music, then it's even more so when it comes to live performances of music, because then there's also, there's dancing and there's the physical aspect as well. So this becomes
dancing.
I'm using the term loosely here.
Okay.
But I do go to shows where what you might call where it's more actually dancing, right? Ska shows involve more dancing.
Also it involves ska.
And ska, there is that. It's kind of hard to talk about because I'm I just go, and then in terms of punk shows, if it's a band that I really like,
it's magical.
I wouldn't put it that way, but I would say that it's I go and I listen, and I just probably also drink alcohol, which helps.
$6.50 for a single small can of cider.
Welcome to Vancouver. So, just kind of going and having this, it's a physical experience. It sort of puts me in my body more and outside the realm of the constant sort of storm of anxiety and overthinking it that exists in my head.
Despite it being a very, very social event, because not even after that first set we watched was done, featuring Russian Tim and
Russian Tim.
I Crossed the Alps Burris.
I cannot wait for you to tell the listeners about Russian Tim.
So Russian Tim was a Russian performer who performed a Russian punk ska fusion band.
Russian Tim and Pavel Burris.
I always forget Pavel.
Yeah, well, Russian Tim is a little bit kind of,
He
is the presence.
Commands your
Sorry,
attention.
Pavel, if you're listening to this, you were good also, but...
Yeah, Pavel, you're a champ, but this is the Marks and Engels problem.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets
Everyone
Engels.
forgets Engels.
So the set plays.
Yeah.
This is my first punk show set. I've got earplugs in, because it's a loud venue, and if I can offer a gentle warning to the audience, if you're going to see live music, bring earplugs. It's the safe sex of rock and roll.
Well, if you're going to this kind of show anyway, you probably don't need them at the symphony.
But might.
Yeah, it depends on where you're sitting.
They bring up the amp up to 11. That's how it works. We demand phones off when recording, or at least on silent.
That was your usual co-host, I suppose. So anyway.
So we go through that first set. And it is apparently only 25 minutes of...
If that, I think it might have been about 20.
Of very frantic, energetic, high stakes Russian Tim in his Adidas tracksuit, bouncing along to very fast-paced ska jams.
Yep.
And I look over to Megan, and she looks over to me, and that magical spark of connection when I say to her, that was fucking horrible.
And I was like, I kind of liked it.
But it was one song for an hour, and you went, no, it wasn't that long. It was like, it wasn't that long. And
so Russian Tim explains that all the songs are in Russian.
And they were all in Russian. And it wasn't even the Russian that had upset me.
No.
To a deep moral fiber. It was simply they sounded the same. And so Russian Tim finishes up. The band gets rid of their instruments. They're moving off the set. The second band starts playing. I'm more into it. And then these punk shows, the venue of the rickshaw is pretty, I wouldn't say intimate, but it was starting to get intimate due to the sheer number of people.
Yes.
So
it's a remodeled movie theater.
The crowd bubbles and rolls.
Yep.
And who do we see within arm's reach? But Russian Tim. And so you look over and see the back of Russian Head's Tim. And before I could stop you, before I could reach out and go, no. You go, hey, Tim, how are you?
Bear in mind, I had never met this man before in my life.
No, never. I thought you had. I thought this would have been a big ruse as you sort of bring him into our intimate circle, and he's like, it's Blit. That was bad Russian. Let me try that one more time. Hey, how you doing? It's me, Russian Tim. He announces himself in the third person.
Okay, so I say I liked your set. I enjoyed it because, the whole point of this experience I thought was to push our boundaries a little bit here.
Which in this case is meeting strangers.
Meeting strangers. I met strangers at your thing, so and I said, and this is my friend Jacob, and he's never been to a punk show before.
And I'm like, hey, how's it going? And Russian Tim's like, oh man, what'd you think? And I went, fuck. And I looked over to Megan, and she had this she was wringing her hands and smirking. She was like, I gotta get my kicks somehow. I
then explained, I said, well, Jacob and I have a deal, and I explained about the podcast.
And he's like, oh man, this is so... And after explaining to him what I thought about his set and the deal, and then you say, oh yeah, and Jacob's going to be taking me to a Magic the Gathering Friday nights thing. And then there's this beat. And at this place, we've got earplugs in. The change of set music is loud.
I'd taken mine out, but yeah.
It's set
yeah,
loud.
the recorded, the interset music
I presume being a punk artist, Tim is...
Probably doesn't have a lot of hearing.
Tinnitus.
Yeah.
That scourge, that vein. And he looks over to me and grabs me by the shoulders, yelling at the top of his Russian lungs... Or at least at the 3/4 mark. You're not a fucking juggalo, are you? Are you?
At which point I just lose my mind laughing.
And I'm
sure onlookers are baffled.
And I beg to him, no, I'm not a juggalo. I'm a productive member of society. I say at a punk show liable to be beaten up over a comment like that.
And he sort of slaps you on the back and goes, is good.
And convinces me to have at least 4 drinks, which I imagine helps sell, gives them more money. I only wound up having 2.5.
Yeah.
That old scourge, $6.50 for a fucking can of cider.
Anyway.
God damn it. I would rather buy band shirts.
I also bought at least 2 of those drinks for you, I will point out.
You bought me 1.5. I had money, I just didn't have enough money.
Well, I suppose you paid for the cab home, so that...
Yeah, I was going to ask. You said, oh man, I owe you money,
Yeah.
And then you never paid back.
That was a week ago.
That was vengeance.
It wasn't exactly ancient history.
That was vengeance for me buying those drinks. Oh, got flirted with.
So
dealt with shows.
So let's carry on. So while Russian Tim obviously was the highlight of the evening, there's more to come. So then we saw another couple bands.
Daggermouth.
Well, we'll get there. Let's talk about the interval. The next band to come on were called the Slip-Ons, I believe.
Which I always thought were the Strap-Ons, but no, Slip-Ons.
Which led to an awkward moment in conversation where I went, "What are you talking about?" Jacob, what did you think of the Slip-Ons?
I like them. Mm-hmm. I like them the most out of all the bands that evening, including the erstwhile headliners.
Yes.
I met them during I think the next set or during the interval between sets, and spoke with the main singer for them. They kind of had a experimental older sound with reverb on the amps and stuff.
Now, here's the thing. I would actually agree with you that I kind of liked the Slip-Ons better than Russian Tim. As a musician, right? Musically, I'm sure I would probably rather listen to their music. But
Russian Tim is a cooler dude.
He's a cooler guy. He had more kind of enthusiasm, and more energy, and more charisma, I think.
You said after I mentioned I didn't like Russian Tim that you were going to give me this long-winded rant on the difference between...
I didn't say it was going to be long-winded. I just said that when I'm in probably if I was just listening to music, then I would probably rather listen to the Slip-Ons. But there's also, the element of if you're a performer and you're a live performer, then you do need to have kind of the energy, because otherwise you've got a crowd full of people just standing there staring at you, right?
Well, to be fair, Russian Tim had a crowd of people standing there silently at him.
He also had other people who were not as silent, shall we say.
Probably friends. Of Russian Tim.
And that comes to the second point, which is that if you're an opening band especially, it doesn't hurt to bring in a few of your friends and maybe get them a little liquored up first.
Try and bring the energy up in the room.
And sort of encourage people to get going a little bit, because people are very self-conscious, and you feel much less self-conscious if you know that there's one person in the room who's drunker and less inhibited than you are.
I think what it was is people were trying to save their energy for the dreadnoughts.
I don't know that people were really trying to save their energy so much as just trying to get warmed up. But anyway, so
they really liked the Iron Knives or whatever the fuck they're called.
Who?
Daggermouth.
Oh, them. Yeah, there was, I think, more energy in the room for Russian Tim and Pavel. And the Slip-Ons, like I said, they were good, and I liked them, but
we'll cut to the chase here. Russian Tim, if you want on this podcast, you're in.
Hit us up. So, then who was next? Do you remember which band was next?
It was the one with the mandolin player.
Yes.
They had the very artsy name, and they were very artsy, and I rolled my eyes very hard.
I don't even really remember too much about them, except that they had a mandolin player who was wearing...
And a singer you really liked, in the sundress.
Yes. Yeah, their sound was... Oh, gosh. We'll put it in the show notes.
Kind of swing.
When I look it up. But yeah, it was sort of a bluegrass kind of...
Bluegrass swing.
It was a bit Mumford & Sons, if Mumford & Sons were a little more hardcore.
And had more daughters. And
a mandolin player who had a beard and wore...
He was the fixture of the night for you.
I liked him.
His fishnets.
He had nice legs, and he was wearing heels, so... I'm using he, I assume it was a he.
Pretty sure,
they.
Yeah.
Could have been they, but anyway. Their stuff was fun. It was, it was upbeat, it was cheerful. Like I said, the lead singer had some good pipes on her. She was pretty talented.
And I was just like, man, these guys are cheerful and happy, so I don't like them very much.
So, so that kind of brought up also some more energy, and at this point, of course, the venue's starting to fill up with more people, starting to get a little
more
warmer,
cider,
a little sweatier, more people wearing t-shirts saying Polka's not dead.
To which I did not question.
Yeah.
I presume that, yes, Polka is barely
alive and well.
It's on life support, but I believe in you, Polka.
No, it's just living in a nice retirement community somewhere. So I liked that band, the kind of bluegrass.
Then Daggermouth
came on. And
Daggermouth, if you're listening to this, which I don't think you are, because we never even looked at you in the eye, you sound like low rent, not even whiny enough Linkin Park.
Yeah, basically Jacob looked at me and said, if this is a nu metal band, I'm going to kill you.
Bad nu metal band.
A bad nu metal band.
One of my favorite bands is nu metal, technically, but
right.
They had a synthesizer thing that was going on.
So effectively, basically, both of us just kind of listened to about 3/4 of one song and went, nah. No. And we decided to go hang out in the lobby while we waited for that particular set to be finished.
Where I ran away from Pretty Girls.
Yes. So what happened was I had to go to the washroom and...
Oh no, this story gets
So, okay.
Summaried.
What happens is I went upstairs. I went to go to the washroom. I don't know if this happens in men's rooms, but in women's rooms, it's like, you kind of meet people when you're in line and you.
Oh, no. Men, we don't even make eye contact.
Okay, yeah. Like
We're terrified of being accused of being homosexual.
Ah, yes, right. So, one of the handful of benefits of being a woman is that doesn't really happen. And
you get to meet people.
You're allowed to talk to other
be
people
a human being.
in a bathroom.
Yeah.
And I was talking to this woman who I think she was probably about in her 40s, thereabouts.
Yeah.
And I mentioned, I brought my friend. It's his first punk show. And yeah, anyway, so we had a brief exchange, and then I went back downstairs. I went to the washroom again later, and then when I came back, Jacob was talking to this woman.
Yeah. And I thought you had been friends for some time.
And I said,
you said,
"Oh, you met my friend."
And it looked like you two knew each other, and I didn't know about the bathroom intimacy that occurs.
Of course not, that occurs between women. And and she was talking about how she wanted to cut your hair and touching your hair.
Putting smooth moves.
Yeah.
Smooth grooves.
So I said, I'm going to go get another drink.
And I didn't know what the hell to do, so I ran.
So he fled. And that is how we came up with the idea that Jacob needs to wear a t-shirt.
No, that does not get on the podcast.
Okay, fine.
That is next level marketing for when we're successful and have millions of dollars.
I see, okay.
Need millions of dollars, you know what I mean.
Except you don't like me telling people about the podcast because for some reason you fear success.
I have an incredible fear of success, but that is not germane to the podcast.
So after Daggermouth were on, not much to say about them, just that neither of us really liked the Dreadnoughts, which was what I was there for.
And I moshed.
And Jacob moshed. Tell us about moshing, Jacob.
I don't have any stamina.
Okay.
Like, no, I got zero stamina. I think there are sloths that are more active than me. I need exercise. I do.
Fair enough.
I'll admit that to both the audience and to you, Megan, as a dear friend.
Okay. And
so I lasted. So in a bit of hubris, I think, you were like, you should come up to the front with me, and I did.
Yep.
And the front was fine, and then the music starts playing, and I get pulled in.
Yep.
Very quickly.
Because you look like the kind of guy who can hold his own in the pit.
Oh yeah, I got weight.
You looked like the kind of guy who was there to mosh. Which is funny considering you had been anxious about what you were going to look like, what you should wear.
I was going to get beaten
up by you were going to get beaten up for being
the
nerdy.
Cooler kids.
There was a woman there in a cardigan, like literally.
Wasn't she sitting in the back?
It doesn't matter. She was there and she was wearing a cardigan. And for anybody who's listening to this and you're anxious about going to this kind of thing...
Don't. Wear whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, and you're worried that people are going to judge you. Don't. Wear whatever the fuck you want. People know
as long as it's not like, man, I love Coca-Cola or capitalism in think
Yeah, that's probably... You might get a few weird looks, but even
a couple middle fingers and that's it.
Yeah. So, no, don't think that you have to show up in,
Although, then again, this is the
and
Vancouver scene. If you're listening to this from the sunny, balmy beaches of Baltimore.
Yeah, I can't speak for other cities because I don't really know the scene in other cities. But yeah, in Vancouver, like, people appreciate that you're going to turn up. And if you're there to have a good time and not fuck anybody else up, and you buy drinks... then, wear whatever you're comfortable in, though I do recommend heavy shoes.
And earplugs. Black, you can't go wrong with.
Can't go wrong with black.
So I get pulled in. See, the thing is, I don't have stamina,
right?
But I do have mass.
That's true.
And I do have leg muscle.
There you go.
And so I get pulled in, and I'm leaping around, I'm shoving people, which unfortunately requires upper arm strength. Mm-hmm. And I last about 30 seconds before I go, I feel like I'm going to have a fucking heart attack.
Sure.
And I managed to rip myself out of there.
Yep, good.
I'm like, okay, that was me moshing. Mm-hmm. Let's try it again. And so over the course of the Dreadnought set, I would be on the back, in the border, and in the actual front. Yep. Right after finding you, after being lost for like one or two songs, not knowing where you had gone.
Yeah, you kind of have to accept that's going to happen.
I was a stranded babe and
lost in the woods.
A lost 25 bearded man. Where is everybody? And sure enough, I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the show. Yep. I liked it. Are you happy now?
Yes.
You happy I enjoyed myself?
Yes. I have this astonishing, truly bizarre thing where I like it when my friends are happy. and when they have fun. I had the time of my goddamn life.
I think my exact words to you when we left the studio and every retelling therein... Studio? Every time we left the theater and every retelling therein is, if I had loved the headliner as much as you did. Now, the Dreadnoughts are okay. I love the music's fine.
They're the kind of thing I like.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of like Flogging Molly and the Dropkick Murphys.
Whereas like I'm okay with them.
Yeah, I like the energy. I like the fact that you can jump in and, you know, scream. And I mean, bear in mind, the Dreadnoughts have a song where effectively the whole thing goes cider, cider, cider,
and that is
which
the song.
you can sing along with.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Pick it up and play.
So you jump in the pit, you shove some people, you scream
Cider.
And
it's fine.
Yeah.
And if it were, say, a band that I personally really, really enjoyed, and I'm not going to say here because it might be a spoiler for a future episode of something else, then I would have considered that one of the best nights of my life. But since I was only okay with the Dreadnoughts, fan of Russian Tim,
so yeah, Dreadnoughts.
It was good.
Yeah, so the Dreadnoughts played, among other things, including their own original compositions, they played a cover of Roll Out the Barrel and another one of Sarah McLachlan's Building a Mystery. Yeah.
If this is the band for you, please look up the Dreadnoughts at your local music depository.
Indeed, just so.
I didn't know we had sold out already.
Yeah. So final thoughts.
Thumb and 3/4 up.
So, okay, good. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? I would say about that kind of event is that, yeah, if, as with many things, if you don't like the band, you're not going to enjoy yourself. But I do think that there's something to be said for...
the experience of it.
Yeah, first of all, for the experience. So I'm glad that you enjoyed the experience. So, like, for example, I would never take Sam to something like this because he would hate it. Because he doesn't like, you know, loud music and people shoving each other.
Well, right? I saw that venue was even hosting a band that Sam and I both love.
Yeah.
The Electric Six.
Yeah.
And I said, oh man, we should go. And he went, no.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do this. No.
So, or, you know, enemy of the podcast, Jesse Cowell, that would be his version of hell.
Probably.
Yeah, that would be, like, Sam would not enjoy it, but Jesse would be actively tortured. So yeah, that's the kind of thing. So I am glad that you went and you said, okay, well, this is the kind of thing that I would like more in other circumstances, but not just like, okay, I actively hate this.
No.
So that's good.
All right.
And like I said, I had a great time, so, you know. So, mission accomplished.
Round 2.
Yeah.
So, that was week 1. It was a good Friday night. You know what also happens on Friday night? Friday Night Magic.
Yep.
So, Megan, I guess you should ask... summarize.
Okay.
Summarize what Magic the Gathering is in 50 words or less. Go.
All right. Well, I don't know that I have Sam's skill with sardonically twisting what something actually is, but... Magic the Gathering is a card game in which you need to apparently buy lots of cards, and then there's a story, but it doesn't matter at all because it's all about the numbers on the cards.
We're at 60 plus words here. Just keep going.
All right. But there's some cool fluff on the cards, and I am terrible at it.
Well, we were both terrible at it. I think we can start this story by admitting we both lost to children around the age of 9.
Yes. We'll get to that in a moment, but...
I think you need to ask me a question.
Okay, so Jacob, why do you like this? Why do you enjoy hanging out with a bunch of people and you put down some cards and...
I like other games that aren't Magic the Gathering. Mm-hmm. Magic the Gathering, for the reasons you so aptly described in your good summary there. There is a competitive harshness to it that exists in a competitive scene like that.
Right.
That I hate. Mm-hmm. Whereas for many other games, it would not be at a card store; it'd be at a bar, and you'd get drinks, and you'd have like a craft IPA while playing down your
IPA.
I don't know, whatever. I'm trying to make you get appealed to this.
All right.
Or what the fuck ever. The craft cider, and pull down your Monster Reborn or whatever the fuck, and you get to have like this cool card game experience while drinking and meeting new people. But that's not what magic is.
Why do you like magic?
It's not that I like magic. It's that magic is a part of me.
Ah, okay.
That I was playing. As I was telling you, I started going to Wally's card games when I was like late 5, early 6 years old. I was a young child when I started my card game stuff, and I started Magic when I was about 8.
You were not yet J cubed, perhaps only J squared.
I was only 8 I wasn't even squared.
J to the first.
J to the first. I was barely a child then. And I started learning Magic. I started going to Friday night Magic, and I'd lose. I'd lose a lot. And I would lose over and over and over again. And I wanted to share that experience with you. The feeling of loss and defeat and crippling neurosis.
See, I take you to my thing where I'm like, I want to go to a thing where people have a good time and everyone's having high energy and you just like celebrate the joy of being young and enjoying music and being part of a community, and you wanted me to experience loss and humiliation.
Because that is not something I enjoy. But that is something true to me.
Okay.
I showed you something.
So this was not so much about enjoyment.
I showed you something personal, Megan, and I want you to appreciate that.
Not so much about enjoyment as about understanding. Okay, I see.
But there are other similar things like that I love.
And how was your plan horribly thwarted?
So, not to get into the weird, dumb, niche explanations of how Magic works, because Magic is a card game that is, I think, as old as I am as a human being. It's quite old.
And it's really not relevant. We could have been playing chess or bridge or anything
like
that.
But there are particular formats to things, and this format, after many, many years of that store having a quite competitive, cutthroat format, relaxed. And it's like hey, bring in do whatever you want sort of deal. And we come in, we've got we're begging to lose decks, and everyone's like, hey, welcome, how are you new people? How are you doing?
Roughly half the people in the room, half to a third of them are children under the age of about 13.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we get like the few adults, and they're like, hey, it's good to see new people and all that sort of jazz.
And I get paired up with this guy named Kenny, who is really nice and very enthusiastic, and I explain that it's my first time playing in this kind of event, and he helps me, he shows me how the phases work.
Kenny was a good guy.
Kenny was a good dude. He was very welcoming, very nice. I did not get any of that vibe of, oh my god, it's a girl, what do we do?
I saw like a few things that were like, that's a bit odd of you. But no, otherwise, it was a perfectly normal encounter.
It was,
which I was internally upset at.
So I played, my first round was with this guy Kenny, who was, a grown man who helped me understand the game a little bit more. My next round was with a boy named Ryan, who I would peg at being somewhere between 9 and 11 years old, and he was very nice.
Yeah.
I don't expect someone that age to be like, great at small talk or anything like that, but he was very polite and very kind and was very happy to win against me.
Because in games like these kids are very excited to play. These kids almost never win.
Yeah. So he was very excited that he got to beat a grown-up, and he was very nice. And then I played another guy who was wearing a flat cap and like a tweed suit. And he was also, helpful, and I think he was willing to be a bit...
I'm happy that he had stepped down at least from the actual top hat with, like, gears and goggles.
Okay, yeah, and...
He's chilled out in his years.
Chilled out, and he had a friend there who was also, kind of hanging out and
big dude
who was, polite, friendly. And I think, this guy in the hat... I think he was humoring me a little bit and kind of holding back a bit just for the sake of letting me actually play a game where I didn't get instantly flattened within 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So that was nice of him. And Jacob was just so crushed to be in this environment with people
that was healthy and happy.
Were kind to children and newcomers. And welcoming and accepting.
And play modern.
Yeah.
Man, fuck. It's uncomfortable that I have all these positive memories of misery and woe, and then they're robbed from me as I grow older.
So the short answer is, did I enjoy myself? Actually, yes, I did. I can think of worse ways to spend a Friday night, and will I do it again? Probably not.
No. Why is that, Megan?
Because Magic is an expensive hobby.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed it, but not enough to start spending, tens of dollars per session.
Tens of dollars?
Per session. Put it that way. If you do this every week and you have to spend $50 a week, that I'm not spending that much money. If it were something like, board game night at the Stormcrow, right, where it's like, okay, you turn up and the board game is there and you play it and you don't have to pay to play the game.
Now there are
that I might be willing to do.
There are cheaper formats than that, but we were playing against people that had $900 worth of Magic cards in their decks. Or $400.
Yeah, and that there is a certain element of my own personal oeuvre, shall we say, yes, that objects to the idea that you can buy your way to getting better at something.
And that is the entirety of Magic the Gathering. And that's
the entirety of Magic the Gathering.
Is you can buy your way to success.
If this were if this were, Friday night chess or something like that, which I don't like chess that much, but
it would have been more.
It would have made more sense to me on some level. I would object a bit less, sort of philosophically, which is not to shit on people who like this and who enjoy it and have the means to participate in it. I don't think it's
just if
thing.
you would if it was a different headliner, if you liked the headliner.
Yeah, if it was a hobby that I did not have to. That I could get better at by virtue of practice and, training, for want of a better word, then I would probably be more interested in doing it more. But I'm not really interested in spending a lot of money on buying a better deck.
For those of you who spend the money you need to win at Magic the Gathering, we salute you.
God bless you. Jacob is literally saluting right now.
I believe in you.
But no, I don't think it's really my style. Only you could be disappointed when it turns out people are actually good.
There's one kid there who's a bit of a brat.
Yeah, but he's a kid. He did have
not like a young kid.
Oh, like a teenager kind of.
I think he was like maybe 18 or 19,
yeah.
where he was a bit smarmy about how. The problem is I was treating that situation as least seriously as possible.
Oh, was this one of the ones you played against?
Yeah, one of the ones I played against, and he was just like, man, you can play some creatures, and I was like, nah. Yeah. Why would I do? Why would I win?
Why would I want to win?
That's dumb. I came here to lose, my friend, and I'm gonna lose. Oh, and also the kid who beat me up and took my deck.
Oh yeah, there we go. There was that. You should tell that story.
Yeah, where. It was around the third game of the night, and I was like, I don't want to keep playing this. I'm going to lose. There's only 4 rounds, which it was actually shorter. It used to be 6 rounds for when they used to do tournaments. And I looked at this young kid of, I think 9, actually 9. And I was just like, what would make this kid stay? Having more Magic cards.
Yeah.
Just having more cards. So I said, all right, kid, if you beat me, I'll give you my deck. He was like, oh, okay. Clearly not believing my threat.
You, yeah.
And I didn't even go easy on him. I won the first game very handily and then got very bad cards for the next 2 games and he won. And I was like, all right, kid, here you go. He went, wait, what? Really? Yeah, it's yours. Oh, thank you.
And now he has a story to tell about the weird guy at Magic.
The weird guy with the monster hair.
Yeah.
Who just was like, all right.
Gave him some cards.
Was very silent for most of that game and then was like, here's my card.
The other thing that was going on at my table during my last game of the evening was apparently, so the kid that I had played earlier had some sort of a deal with one of the other guys at the table. Something about how they all collected My Little Pony cards.
Also,
and
the Caillou thing.
The Caillou thing was also weird.
Apparently I need to interview you to get the interesting bits. So
I don't know.
Start the My Little Pony thing.
Well, I'm not totally sure what was going on because I was trying to play at the same time that this was occurring. But apparently, one of them had jokingly said something like, well, if I die, then you can inherit my, like Twilight Sparkle card or something. Yeah. So they were going on at very great length
about the My Little Pony
collectible card game, which I wasn't paying very close attention to. I was talking to across from me at the table.
Yeah. So the Caillou thing.
So the guy I played last had this card in his deck.
Should we explain what Caillou is?
I don't know. Do we have any American listeners who might not know who Caillou is?
Caillou is a French-Canadian children's cartoon?
Yes.
Featuring a boy who is apparently suffering from leukemia.
Yeah,
because he has got
no hair.
not even stubble, just bald.
He's bald. And I don't think I ever really watched it very much, if at all. But yeah, for some reason they'd created a magic card with this cartoon character on it. And I'd heard them talking about this, and I hadn't really twigged until the guy actually played the card.
And it was literally just a picture of bald boy Caillou.
With some stats written at the bottom. And I was like, okay, I gotta ask, what's the deal with Caillou? What's going on with this?
Yeah, what's the mythology here?
And they were like, oh yeah, well, okay, at one point... me and my friends, we were sort of a little bit obsessed with Caillou just because it was so weird. Ironically. And I was like, ironically, okay.
Sure.
Ironically means you were smoking a lot of weed. Okay. So we thought he was kind of weird and scary, so we created this magic card. And I was like, I'm assuming that's not officially acceptable in play. He's like, yeah, no, of course not. But we're all friends here. I was like, okay.
We're all Caillou.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, okay. So that was interesting. There we go. So Jacob,
what's the common theme?
What is the common theme? That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
We don't need to stick to a letter or anything. This is a brave new world. What is? I guess it's magic.
I was going to say gathering. Community, I don't know.
Juggalos.
That's cheesy.
No,
Juggalos.
It's Juggalos.
The theme is definitely Juggalos.
It is very much
Which
Juggalos.
only came up at Friday Night Magic when we were telling the story of Russian Tim to...
Because Russian Tim is kind of a life ballad, really.
Yeah, that's the connecting theme. That's what brings us all together.
It's Russian Tim.
It's Russian men in tracksuits. So, this is the part where I'm supposed to remind you to thank Irritating Rainbow.
Fuck. We would like to thank Irritating Rainbow for the use of our theme song. You Broke It on the album Where Did the Truck Go? We would like to appreciate... See, I'm always bad at this. This is why Sam always does it. Irritating Rainbow, thank you very much for letting us use your music. Find them, buy their music. It's great. It's good stuff. It's the one thing me and Sam agree on. It's the one thing me and Megan agree on.
Yes. All right. Thank you for having me as a guest on the show. I enjoyed the experience.
We don't need to threaten each other with future stories.
No, I don't think so. Well, we might do this again sometime. We'll see.
Well, we might. I know what I would take you to, which is less threatening overall.
And probably in general more interesting for me, but I could think of something to take you to, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. All right. And that's that.
Sam, if you've gotten this far, I think the tagline should be, are we all done? We're almost all done. Basically, we did that smart thing where we were like, here's the conclusion, then we kept talking. I was able to fish out a few stories.
A few more details.
So I think the tagline should be something like, where Caillou and Russian Tim are quarterly invited to the podcast.